I never thought I'd tell this story. Not because I'm afraid of combat. I've seen enough of that as a Marine. No. This is different. This mission wasn't about rescuing anyone. It wasn't about national interest or stopping some distant threat. It was about covering one up. I was with the 2nd Recon Battalion, temporarily attached to a joint ops team. The briefing was simple. A U.S. biologist, a Dr. Hayes, had gone missing near a remote Amazon tributary. Our job: extract him and bring him home. Simple. At least, that's what command said it was. The helicopter ride in was dead quiet. Below us, the jungle stretched out like a black ocean of trees. No lights, no villages, no trails. Just pure, suffocating isolation. We touched down near a flooded plain. The heat hit you instantly, like breathing through a hot, wet towel, and the mosquitoes swarmed us before our boots even hit the mud. Our team was small but capable. Staff Sergeant Parker was our leader. Calm, sharp, the kind of guy you trusted without question. Corporal Ruiz was our tracker, fluent in Portuguese and could read the jungle like a book. Then there was Private King, the youngest on the team, maybe a little too eager, and me. We started moving along the river, our boots sinking into the thick mud with every step, night vision casting everything in an eerie green glow. At first there was nothing unusual, just the sounds of the jungle at night. Then Ruiz stopped us, holding up a closed fist. He pointed down at the mud. Tracks. But they weren't boot prints. They were from bare feet, with long toes and webbing between them. Whatever left these prints wasn't human. Or if it had been, it wasn't anymore. Parker just whispered, "Keep moving. Eyes open." We didn't talk much after that. The silence felt heavy. We reached the camp soon after. It was a wreck. 3 tents, equipment overturned everywhere, a smashed radio. No bodies. But there were deep claw marks gouged into the metal supply cabinets. King found a torn ID badge lying in the mud. Dr. Hayes, and next to it, something else. A large water tank, the kind they use for research, had been burst open from the inside, like something incredibly strong had forced its way out. We managed to salvage the research logs. The last entry from Dr. Hayes was chilling. They're evolving faster than expected. It's no longer safe to observe them up close. Before we could even process what that meant, we heard it. A splash, slow, deliberate, coming from the river. Ruiz immediately aimed his rifle toward the water's edge. Parker motioned for silence. Under the surface, a dark shape was weaving between the reeds. Then another, and another. Parker's voice was a low whisper. "Back up. Stay out of the water." We formed a tight perimeter, our flashlights cutting through the darkness, scanning the river. Just as quickly as they appeared, the shapes vanished. The entire jungle went dead quiet. An unnatural silence. It hit King first. A blur shot out of the river. A scaled, webbed hand gripped his ankle and just dragged him down. King screamed, firing his rifle wildly as the black water swallowed him whole. We rushed forward, but it was too late. The water erupted with more splashes. Figures started rising from the river, humanoid but wrong. Their limbs were too long, their skin dark and slick, and their eyes reflected our lights like animals caught in headlights. They circled us, silent and coordinated. Parker finally broke the tension, shouting, "Fire! Fire! The night exploded with gunfire. We hit one, and a dark green mist, not red blood, sprayed from the wound before it collapsed back into the water. But for every one that we dropped, 3 more seemed to emerge from the depths. Ruiz yelled over the chaos, "They're hurting us! Fall back!" We scrambled backwards, retreating toward the tree line, chest deep in panic and mud. For a split second, King resurfaced. His mouth was open, eyes wide with terror, like he was trying to scream, but only water poured out. Then, hands pulled him back under for the last time, and he was just gone. We ran. We ran until our lungs burned, branches tearing at our uniforms. When we finally risked a look back, we saw they hadn't chased us onto dry land. They just watched. Dozens of pairs of glowing eyes lined up along the riverbank. I'll never, ever forget those eyes. At dawn, we called for evac. Command's response came back cold and clear. Negative. Mission continues. Then another message. Confirm the behavior of the hostiles. Recover Dr. Hayes if possible. Behavior? We just lost a man and nearly died ourselves. Parker refused the order. He tried sending a distress code, but the radio immediately cut out. The sat link went dead. Command had shut us out. We weren't there to rescue a scientist anymore. We were bait. We found what was left of Dr. Hayes about an hour later. His body was half buried in the mud near the riverbed, his skin unnaturally pale, as if he'd been underwater for days. A waterlogged notebook lay beside him. Only one page was still readable. It said, "They communicate through vibration. If they learn to walk on land, we lose." As I read that, Ruiz froze, staring at something behind me. I turned. 3 of them were standing in the shallows. They were taller than the ones from the night before, standing straighter. They weren't hiding anymore. They were learning. They started to step forward. Slow, confident steps onto the muddy bank. Ruiz fired a single shot. The thing staggered, but then it just kept coming. Parker ordered a retreat, but there was nowhere left to go. The river was to our right. A swamp was behind us. We were trapped. The creatures paused, just watching us with those unblinking, intelligent eyes. Listening. And then they retreated. They slipped back into the water, as if they knew we'd be taken care of another way. Hours later, the evac chopper finally arrived. But it wasn't a standard military bird. It was black, completely unmarked. The men who came out wore no insignias, gave no names. They took everything. Our helmet cams, all recordings, Hayes's notebook, even Ruiz's body cam, the only real proof we had of what happened. They debriefed us with a series of clean, simple lies. What you saw was an undiscovered species, they said. It wasn't intelligent. It didn't kill Hayes or King. You fired first. Lie after lie. I asked who they worked for. They gave me no answer. Officially, Private King is listed as killed in action, cause of death, drowned. Dr. Hayes's death was ruled an animal attack. Corporal Ruiz died in a training accident a few months later. And officially, Operation Silent Current never happened. They warned us never to speak of it. But every time I close my eyes, I see those creatures watching us from the waterline, waiting. And I know the truth. They're still out there. They're evolving. They're learning. And soon, the Amazon won't be big enough to hide them forever. Thanks for listening to today's story. If you want to hear more about the things we're not supposed to talk about, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to uncover.